You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop. For the athletes, for the game.
Good evening and welcome into the Sporting Time Show. I am Doug Thompson.
And I'm Joe Brown.
Well, welcome. It is just a few days, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks before Christmas. It's hard for me to keep up with it.
There's some days. We got a little bit of time to shop still, Doug.
A few days. Well, listen, as long as the 24th isn't here, I am good. I have time to shop, but we are glad that everybody's here. Basketball season just tipped off, Joe, and man, it is fast-paced. It is fun to see who gets out of the gates quick.
Yeah.
Who kind of, sputters a little bit, slow starts. But we've had some really interesting performances. I want to talk about the State Farm Shootout for a second.
Yeah.
That was a girls' basketball holiday event. And the games were amazing. Russell County 64, Warren Central put up 63. Very close game. Bowling Green 64, Barron 54. Greenwood 45, ACS 43. And South Warren 53 and Glasgow 48. 4 games, 4 really close matches, and we're just getting started.
And what's great about that matchup that day is they pitted as like a 14th district versus 15th district.
Yeah.
They have to bring in a couple of 16th. They have to bring in Russell County to kind of fill out the 15th district a little bit to make it work. But that day has always turned out to be some really good basketball. To see the 14th come out and win the day, winning 3 out of the 4, pretty impressive. Bowling Green's looking really good.
I know.
It's a nice win already there to get the season started with a win over Barron County, who won the region last year. So.
Yeah, and it's so early, as you and I were kind of looking back on that last week's games, and there's just a few teams that have a couple games under their belts.
Yeah, and some with only just one.
Yeah, so it's hard.
Still super early in the season.
It's hard to draw conclusions about, it's hard for you and I to say, well, we knew it.
Yeah.
This team is, they're going to, it's just way too early for that. But it is fun to see that some of these teams, Joe, on the guy side, there are teams that have 4 players in double digits. I mean, I think it's safe to say, we've got shooting in the 4th region this year.
Yeah, I think shooting has come at least at the beginning. A lot of points being scored by some teams. Greenwood's looked particularly good. Looked really nice against a Glasgow team that we expect to be pretty solid as the year goes around. They've kind of sputtered at the beginning a little bit, but South Warren has come out and put up points on some teams, taken out, I believe it was Allen County Scottsville, I think they beat at the beginning of the year, and won handily in that game. So the Spartans, who, they lose the top scorer in program history in Tyler Martin to graduation last year, and they can still put up some points apparently because they're starting off the season strong.
Well, they have a coach by the name of Blaine Embry.
I've heard of him.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him a little bit.
Any team that he's associated with does well. We have seen it, whether it's on the girls' side, on the guy. I mean, he's a great coach, and he's going to get the most out of his players that he possibly can, and put them in a position to win. Because he doesn't go out on the court and shoot anymore. He doesn't make any baskets, but he does put his players in a position to win games, and they've done it so far early in the season.
And one thing that he talked about in our media day was, this is the second season with him at head coach. The guys are getting more into his system. Yeah. The first year there were some growing pains. It showed a little bit, particularly at the beginning of the year. This year you don't have that beginning of the year growing because they're more firmly ingrained in the system, and perhaps that's starting to show a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's early on. Stay tuned for some really fun basketball interviews that we're going to have this season. Later on in the show, we've got a brand new boys coach that will be joining us, who has won his first game of the season, and I'm excited to talk to him a little bit about his team. I'll give you a hint. You don't want to be in the swamp with this gator. That's just a hint. I know.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah. A guy that broadcasts and knows basketball inside and out.
Could he be the real McCoy?
He could be the real McCoy. We'll have to ask him.
Huh.
He could be. So anyway, we're going to have Coach McCoy on the show here in a few minutes. Joe, I do want to mention that we are going to start our Players of the Week
All right.
tonight.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Now, we have to tell you that the Player of the Week, or players, we're going to pick a male and female. They could have a standout game, or what?
Or it could be something that we've noticed over, a couple of games or a week or so where they just were really solid. And we've got a kind of a case of each for our first time here, Doug.
Yeah, so I'm going to introduce our first female Player of the Week, and that is Linkayla. I hope I get that name correct.
I hope so too, Doug.
Linkayla James out of Bowling Green High School. She put up 23 points in one game. And congratulations to her. You can see her right there. She is a force to be reckoned with. And so congratulations, Linkayla, for your being selected as the Player of the Week. Now, there are several others that could have been. Lucy Patterson, she's averaging 21.7 points per game. But we're going to see Lucy. We're going to see a lot of girls.
Lucy Patterson's going to be a Player of the Week at some point. I think that's going to be a given. I think there are names that people will name off every week that we name these and be like, well, this kid should have been it. This kid should have been it.
That's right.
You know what? There's a lot of kids that we know who are excellent. They're going to make it on the list at some point during this season.
Guaranteed.
It's just going to happen. All right? We've got plenty of love to spread to all these great athletes. So,
now, I got the female, but you got the male athlete, or the male Player of the Week, and that is?
It's Noah Stansbury from Greenwood, and we'll be talking to his coach in just a little bit, but a strong start to the season for them. Again, Greenwood kind of showing what they're made of. I mean, this could be a team, the one team that's been able to upset Bowling Green or Warren Central in the region in the past 20 years was Greenwood a couple of times. Maybe they're in shape to do it again. Noah Stansbury starting off pretty hot. He's averaged 20 points in his first two games. He had, I believe, 19 against Glasgow. He had 21 in the game against Owensboro Catholic, or I flipped those.
Right.
Actually,
he had good games.
He had 21 against Glasgow. He had 19 against Owensboro Catholic in a loss. But hot shooting start. It's kind of becoming his team a little bit between him and Ben Carroll. Those are the names that we're always going to talk about when it comes to Greenwood.
And there's one other.
And Cade Stennett's come out strong.
Great game.
Sophomore Cade Stennett looking really good. He's probably going to be a Player of the Week at some point too. But it kind of revolves around what Stansbury brings, his leadership, and his shooting ability, and so far so good.
Well, congratulations to both of them. And by the way, I went to a Greenwood practice last week, and it was after practice. Noah Stansbury was shooting threes around the horn there, and I was going to talk to him, but he didn't miss. He just kept shooting threes and making it. So I was like, I'm not going to interrupt that.
Can't do
so
that.
Anyway, congratulations. It is going to be a fun season. And Joe, STBN TV, our broadcast network, you're hitting it hard already.
Yeah, already getting on it.
Brent Thompson is going to be out there doing games for Greenwood. You're doing Bowling Green and other games as well. So you can go to stfanclub.com and you can watch games every week. Or listen to games every week.
I mean, a couple times a week. So
absolutely. So we love to have you stop by and check out stfanclub.com. Joe, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have that Gator on the show. Coach McCoy joins us right here on the Sporting Times on WNKY NBC 40.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
Welcome back to the show. Well, as previously mentioned, our Gator coach is in studio, and I want to introduce him, Coach Will McCoy. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
It is great having you on the show. It was really funny. We were talking before the show started, and we cover a lot of student athletes over our 15 years, and found out that I interviewed you when you were a Glasgow Scotty.
Yes, sir.
And it's amazing. And now you're the head coach of the Greenwood Gators. It's first of all, how much fun are you having as as a head coach?
I'm having a blast. It's a great culture at that school over there, and I inherited a phenomenal team of young men and guys that know how to play the game, love the game. You hear the term gym rats tossed around a lot, but we truly have a group of those over there, so that makes it fun.
Well, before I do want to talk about this team in the next segment, but it's interesting. Obviously, you love the game of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You graduated Glasgow High School.
Yes, sir.
And went to WKU.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that did you decide that you wanted to be a teacher and a coach early on going to school, or was that something that you kind of fell into?
So I always loved the game, as you mentioned. When I went to Western, I was like many students. I changed my mind, felt like a dozen times. My little brother, Charlie, he was a really good player for Coach Cunningham over at Barron County, and he was actually playing on a travel organization here out of Bowling Green, and he played with some names that are familiar to the area, Blue Tisdale, Nakari's fan, guys like that. And their coach, it was a lady named Rachel Booth. She actually needed some help, so I just kind of started helping her when I was 19. I was already in Bowling Green at Western, and they were a really easy group to coach. She was awesome, but I'd be lying to you if I said I felt like I did a whole lot of coaching then with how talented they were. But that's when I kind of fell in love with it. From there, I got more involved with another AAU organization and kind of actually helped get that rolling a little bit around here. And then I landed my first middle school gig over at South Warren. I was just there for a year. I transitioned over. Coach Sherrill gave me a call after that first year and asked me to come run his junior high program. So I was over there for a little bit and actually got to coach. Noah Sansbury was over there at the time, and a lot of the guys that Bowling Green has now, that junior class, that's a pretty good group over there that they have. And then from there, I ended up at Barron County with Coach Cunningham, where I helped him with the high school and ran their middle school for a little bit.
So it's interesting. Did you was it any bit of a transition? Coaching AAU and then coming to the high school or middle school ranks. Was it different? It
was. We luckily were kind of a local based group. We had mainly just 4th and 5th region players for the most part. So we practiced probably a little bit more than most AAU teams did that have guys kind of from everywhere.
Right.
So we were a little more structured, but I enjoyed coaching that much talent in the AAU world, but I definitely enjoy more of structure and practicing and having a routine in terms of the high school and middle school level.
So I got to ask you, did Coach Sherrill give you any advice on how to work the referees down the line?
I learned from example. I watched him a lot. He was definitely pretty good at that.
He was.
Yes, sir.
He was. So tell me about the experience at Barron County High, because obviously Warren Cunningham, regarded as one of the top coaches around. Very much X's and O's guy, very structured. You never saw his guys maybe take a bad shot, but it was rare.
Right.
You always saw them very technical with what they were doing. What was that experience like?
I've talked about it a lot since I've been hired, how much I was able to learn from those guys. Coach Cunningham's a phenomenal coach, and he's got a great staff with Matt Gardner and Lee Johnson, Jared Browning, and those guys. And from day one, I was from that area, but I was a Glasgow Scotty. They made me feel so welcome. I learned so much just from sitting back, but also he made it known to that entire staff when we had input, give input, and I felt like that helped me learn as well, knowing that I run my program the same way. I promise my assistants I'm going to listen to them. Now, I may not always do it, but I'm going to hear them and think about it, and he did that, and to see a guy like that whose basketball IQ was probably as high as some of us put together, listen to us, it showed, you've got to trust the people around you. And, the kids were the same way. They, like you said, they're very structured and play together, and that's because that's what he preaches. And I like to think that's kind of how our team has started off in our first 2 games down here as well. Well,
we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this Gator team, which early in the season, but already some real positive things going on your team, Coach. We're going to take a short break. More of the Sporting Times right here on WNKY NBC. We'll be right back.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
The Leachman Christmas Spectacular Sales Event is going on now at Leachman Buick GMC Cadillac. Save up to $15,000 off 2019 Sierras. Save up to $12,000 on Buick Enclave, up to $9,000 on Buick Encore, and up to $8,000 on GMC Terrains. And while it's fun to receive, we can't wait to give. From Leachman Buick GMC. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a 50-inch TV.
Welcome back, and again, joining us is the head coach of the Greenwood Gators, Will McCoy. Coach, when the Greenwood job came open, was that something that just inside you were like, I really would love that job? Or, looking for a head coaching job in general, do you pick and choose, or
Right.
that was a sweet job?
That's a phenomenal question. Yes, it was a job that I coveted. There was a handful of jobs in this region. Being where I was at the place I was at, I was in no huge hurry. I wanted to become a head coach. My goal was, with my wife and I, was to try to make that happen before I was 35. I'm 29. So when it opened up, I was familiar with some of their players just from coaching the middle school level the last few years and the travel ball that I mentioned to you. So I knew that it was a job a lot of people were going to be hungry to go after. But I talked to my family about it. I talked to my former staff about it, and just went for it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's amazing because the 15th district is such a strong district as far as basketball goes. But when you look historically at the 4th region, it has been Bowling Green, Warren Central,
Yes,
I think, for the past 18, 20 years. It's
Right.
it's hard to break through that. So now you take a head coaching job in the 14th district.
Yep.
And I think maybe Greenwood was one of the last teams to really.
2008, my senior year, they won the region.
They upset the apple
They
cart,
did.
right?
They did, yep.
So, here you're stepping into the lion's den, so to speak. But I would imagine, as a coach and a former player, the competitiveness of knowing that now I get to get in the middle of that arena and have an opportunity to make some noise.
Yeah, and that was something whenever I was discussing taking this job, is had some folks say, "Are you crazy? You really want to go down there and deal with that?" And absolutely.
Yeah.
Every night in this region, specifically this district, you're going to have a test. You and I were talking about it. And rankings are rankings. You got to prove it night in, night out. But as of right now on paper, it's Warren Central, Bowling Green, us, and South. Top 4 teams in this region are within this district.
Yeah.
And it's not like Warren East is just an easy game.
No,
by
they'll
any
get
means.
going. Yeah.
So, it's going to be a challenge. But you want to be battle tested by February, March,
Right.
and playing in this district. If you're not, that's on you. So
I went to one of your practices and we were talking, and then you stepped away and went onto the court, and you were standing next to Ben Carroll. You're a tall guy.
Yeah.
Are you 6'4"?
About 6'6". Yeah.
6'6".
Yeah.
Ben Carroll was much taller than you, and I was like, you don't really see it when they're out there by themselves. But he is a big kid. You got him. You got Noah Stansbury. Stennett, is that correct?
Cade Stennett. Yeah.
He's doing great. You got 4 guys in double digits right now, only through the first few games of the season. How pleased are you with the offensive production of this team so early in the season?
Yeah, those guys love to play with each other. They love to share the ball. This summer, one of the coolest things about our summer schedule and our results was we had different leading scorers almost every game. Now, it was a handful of 5 or 6 guys, but from game to game, you saw different guys step up and take different roles. And I truly think that's how this year will go. Cade and Noah are leading us in scoring right now at about 18 to 20 a game. But, Ben had a big night Friday against Glasgow. The first game, Mark Grant had a 16, 17-point game himself. Parker Williams, our point guard, had a 9-10-point game last Friday. So we've got guys that know how to score the basketball. That's a good thing to have.
It's hard to defend when you got multiple guys that can score.
Right.
And a lot of times we see maybe 1 or 2 guys that are really strong on a team, and then the support kind of really falls off. But your team, obviously, Coach, you got guys that can score. I was watching Noah Stansbury just kind of practice his three-point shot and was going to go out and say hello to him. But he never stopped making his three-point shots. So I said, well, I'm just going to move on, right?
Yeah.
Talk about, the kids. You said gym rats, but just talk about the way that they go about trying to get better.
Yeah, that's the thing. Those guys don't just walk in the gym for games and start making those shots that they're making. They get up shots on their own time, on our time. A lot of these guys, when we leave practices, they go find the gym and get some more work in. So that's the secret to their success, is how hard they've worked. When I was hired in June, we instantly got in a weightlifting and athletic performance program. They bought into that.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ben. All of the guys did. Ben transformed his body.
He's a big guy.
He put on about 10 pounds of muscle, and his vertical, he already could jump out of the gym. Now he had 7 blocks the other night against Glasgow. Just was very tenacious, kind of handled the glass for us, something that we're going to have to ask him to do night in, night out. So that's where that's coming from.
Yeah.
That's those guys. Yeah.
Well, it's got to be exciting, and you have a young family, correct?
I do, yeah.
So at what point do you bring your little one in and start, introducing the round ball?
So she's already came around some. She's still a year and a half old, so not even quite a year and a half, but we've got her on the little tight skull at home, already getting after it a little bit. But she's been a trooper. She's made it up through both of our games so far this year, and
that's fantastic.
Her and my wife are a fantastic support system, as well as our extended family. I really couldn't ask for more.
Well, you are in for a lot of fun with the little one as she gets a little bit older.
Yep.
She's going to be Dad's right-hand coach, your best assistant for sure.
That's right.
And it's always great to have that family support. And, Coach, it's a pleasure having you on the show. Good luck this season. We talk about really good hires when we talk about coaches around the region. You were a great hire. I think Greenwood made a great decision, and look forward to watching you progress throughout your career.
Well, we appreciate what you all do to cover our guys also, Doug.
All right.
So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, when we come back, we're going to wrap it up. The Sporting Times right here on WNKY NBC.
Planes and trains, cars and guitars, caves and waves, rails and trails, thrills and chills, charm and farms. We could keep going for days, and that's just what it would take to see and do everything in the Bowling Green area. As the home of the Corvette, we sure love our fast cars, but the city offers so much more that we think you'll be surprised by how much is happening here. The icing on the Duncan Hines cake is that we're geared for couples, families, and groups with this many options. For more information, go to visitbgky.com.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
The Leachman Christmas Spectacular Sales Event is going on now at Leachman Buick GMC Cadillac. Save up to $15,000 off 2019 Sierras. Save up to $12,000 on Buick Enclave, up to $9,000 on Buick Encore, and up to $8,000 on GMC Terrains. And while it's fun to receive, we can't wait to give. From Leachman Buick GMC. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a 50-inch TV.
Welcome back to the show. I want to thank Coach Will McCoy for being our guest today. Joe, he is, first of all, he had a great not internship, but apprenticeship with Coach Cunningham over at Barron County. And who better would you want to learn from than Coach Cunningham? But man, he brings enthusiasm. He brings a knowledge of the game, and I think Greenwood just got a great hire when they brought Coach McCoy in.
I think so too, and I'll agree with you when it talks about Coach Cunningham.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most respected coaches in the area when it comes to boys basketball, and to be able to take the knowledge that he gained from him, bring it to a team that already has talent. A lot of times when coaches are coming in, the cupboard may be a little bare.
Yeah.
Because that's why you're looking for a new coach, is maybe they weren't successful the years before. But Greenwood's got talent, and then you bring in a coach who knows what he's doing, and it looks like McCoy knows what he's doing, and you put those together, and you can lead to some success very early in a career when you're able to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And as I mentioned before, we are just tipping off the season. We want you to keep it right here on WNKY NBC to get all your sports information, because honestly, Joe, we're out there. You got to be out there.
Yeah.
And we want to welcome anybody to contact us. How do people follow us on Twitter, Facebook, website, smoke signals? What? How do they get a hold of us?
Smoke signals be a little difficult.
Okay.
I can't quite translate those, but Twitter is a thing to go with, and you can hit us up at Sporting Times. Facebook.com/The Sporting Times. We're always posting stuff up there as well. You can also find us YouTube. We got the Sporting Times channel up there, which will have some videos every now and then. You can check that out. And then stfanclub.com is the website, and that's where we're going to have our live games. You can find those there at stfanclub.com.
Yeah, it's going to be a great week, and look forward to joining us next week. We're going to, I think, have a special guest from the north. And can you guess who that is?
From the north?
Yeah, from way north.
You're talking like Cincinnati?
No, further north than that.
Michigan.
And he's got a white beard, and he's kind of your size, Joe, without the stomach.
Wow.
But I think you might be in a Santa outfit next week.
Jeez.
I'm kidding. Not your size this way. Your height, Joe.
Okay.
Your height. You're just so tall. I can't pull it off. But anyway, before I get in trouble, we're going to have to end this, Joe. We'll see you next week. For Doug Thompson.
I'm Joe Bruck.
All right, we'll see you.
You're watching the Sporting Times Show on WNKY 40 NBC with host Doug Thompson. Brought to you by.
As far as engagement rings, or any ring for that matter, or any piece of jewelry, there's nothing that we probably cannot do.
Every engagement ring imaginable is available here. We not only have in-stock pieces, but we also make custom-made jewelry. Anything that they are seeing in a mall-type setting, we can absolutely reproduce it if we don't already have it in stock. I will say we're very personable here.
We try to make it very special for everybody.
The Leachman Christmas Spectacular Sales Event is going on now at Leachman Buick GMC Cadillac. Save up to $15,000 off 2019 Sierras. Save up to $12,000 on Buick Enclave. Up to $9,000 on Buick Encore. And up to $8,000 on GMC Terrains. And while it's fun to receive, we can't wait to give. From Leachman Buick GMC. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a 50-inch TV.